then the fuse links or the fuses want to be 2 Newton meters. 0.5, so we're at. I mean, that is literally nothing, but fair enough. Glasgow switches are the best switches, and today I'm going to be fitting one in the Loadout HQ. This is a Glasgow switch, also known as a switch fuse disconnector in this case. The idea of this device is that it provides isolation and protection in one robust device. They're not to be confused with fuse switches, where the fuses are actually removed as part of the mechanism. It is a switch disconnector though, which means it can be operated on and off of load. Now you're probably thinking, Mike, where and why are you fitting this massive switch at the Loadout HQ? Well, there's 2 reasons really. So the main reason is that the unit has 1 point of isolation in a remote switch room. It's quite a pain every time I want to go and mess with the electrics, which happens a lot. Secondly, I just want a Glasgow switch. There's no better feeling than when you isolate that crank handle and the lights go off. It just, yeah, it's like them old horror movies. But I just always admired the switches, and even though it's not necessary, I just wanted to fit one next to my new distribution board. So this is where the magic is going to happen. I've got this abomination of a 3-phase board. I'm not proud of what's in here. You'll probably see it at some point today, but I just did what I needed to do to get the electrics done and get the power on for my own unit. I knew this was getting changed. It's all tested and sweet anyway. It's just a dog's dinner in there. But yeah, you'll see that in a little bit. Glasgow switch is going to go here with that glanded into the top of it. We'll then extend down with some super long tails. I might even pop this trunking off so I can have them super long to refeed this, knowing they'll get trimmed down at a later date to feed the new board. If you remember, a couple of weeks ago actually, I built that fuse board, that advanced crazy fuse board. It's actually the most advanced bit of kit I've ever worked on. That's the board that's going to be going here. Yeah, it's an ongoing project. Obviously I've got loads going on with Loadout, loads going on with work. I'm actually back on the tools from this month. I don't know when this video comes out, but yeah, I'm back with the firm that started it all with the channel. So where I used to do all of my work, all of my jobs, I'm back there, Burgess Electrical. So I'm pretty excited because that's going to be regular content for you guys, and I just love it. I love Loadout. It really is a dream. Stressful, but it's a dream. But there's nothing I love more than being on the tools and being an electrician. So yeah, I can't wait to get back on the tools. Let's get cracking. I'm going to start by isolating, and then I'll get stripping out too. So this is what I was referring to when I said dog's dinner. So it's all a bit of a mess. I just did what I needed to do to get the circuits on, to be honest, but the existing install's terrible. The earth is actually just taken off of like a bolt along here. So that obviously needs to get put onto the banjo properly. Got a decent reading, all things considered, but yeah, that needs to get sorted out. And yeah, obviously this whole board's going. I actually coiled up loads of slack on all of the new circuits that I put in. Again, looks a bit rough, but all that slack will get taken out and be used to serve the new board. So should work quite well. I did do this like a year ago. It's been one of them jobs that I just haven't had time. I kept putting off, but I'm in a position now where, yeah, I can do it. So I'm going to start stripping out, getting everything out the way, and I'll catch up with you guys when it gets to the interesting bit. So everything is stripped out. I'm now ready to start installing this switch. which is good. I'll show you what's going on in there in a minute, but firstly I wanted to show you what I'd done yesterday to this switch. I actually slotted it. My favorite thing to do as a cable entry method, but you can see there's a nice big slot that's going to allow all the cables to fall onto those terminals. Now normally, traditionally, you'd use Paxlin to do this, which is the sort of brown stuff. I've used it in many of my older videos. But EGW Electrical, who's in the water industry, has put me onto this. This is called Darvik or Grey Board. It's basically a sustainable-ish, healthier alternative to Paxlin. It's plastic based, and it's still very fire resistant, very easy to work with, very nice. It doesn't flake or anything like that, which Paxlin's known for doing. Also, if you love the smell of Paxlin, don't worry, because this smells even better. A little bit less marzipan-y, but even better than Paxlin, so don't worry about that. I actually wanted to do a full sort of tutorial on how to do this. I filmed it all, no talking, I was going to voice over it, but I'm worried, it might be included, but I'm worried it's not really going to fit in the video. And also, I've already done it before on an older video, but that doesn't mean I can't tease just a little bit of the B-roll. Hopefully you get the idea from that. Like I say, I've done the full process with Paxlin in a previous video, so I will, I'll put the link to that below, and you should get the gist of it anyway by just me continuing on from that point. So yeah, I'll start prepping that. I'll show you, in fact, I'm just gonna do it. Let's just crack on. Firstly, I'm actually just removing the grey board. I've cut a square aperture in the isolator, which is bigger than this grey board, and what that does, you can see in there, it just means that the cables aren't going to touch the metal whatsoever. Now what I can do is I can actually remove this now, expose all my pen marks, look, and I can just make sure I cut the slot in the trunk in exactly the same as this, and then I know it will be sweet. It will also line up. I'll have enough measurements again to have fixing holes so I can bolt it all together, and yeah, that's just going to work really, really well. Wow, so I've just done that montage, I've just talked about how much I love slotting, blah, 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 and it turns out I've completely messed this up. It's savable, but yeah, let me bring the camera in and show you. I've been a bit of a wally. As you can see, I've had to cut a new piece with a smaller slot. That's a 40mm slot, that's a 25mm slot. I've had to send it further back as well. And that is because the trunking is actually 75 by 75, not 100 by 100. It's now far smaller, and it's also been pushed back a bit so it can fit better. So yeah, moral of the story is measure twice, cut once, but I just wanted to show you guys that because, yeah, I'm not perfect, I make mistakes, and yeah, it's an easy one to make, but yeah, I should have just measured the trunking. I assumed, and I got it wrong. Sweet, so now we can start marking up. Beauty of these pens is you can really extend the lead, and then great for like deep holes. I'm just literally going to run it along the edge. So with the switch out the way, I've got my slot marked, I've got my holes marked and drilled. So now I just need to cut the rest of this out. So I was hoping this is the case, and it is. I can actually fit the jig just, along there. So I'm going to do that. Probably have to fit a stubby battery though. Right, we got there in the end. So that is the isolator mounted to the wall. Big old clunky thing. Obviously there's going to be a bigger, nicer board next to it, so you should start to get the idea. That armoured's going to get obviously boshed into the top. That is it slotted in. So if I just zoom in, you can see I've had to push it back and you've got all that dead space where the 40mm slot was. It sort of is where it is. It's hard to tell, but those lips are, there is, you know, a good 5mm between the metal and the plastic, so yeah, you haven't got to worry about any cables sort of scraping on them. Ideally I would like it bigger, but still more than enough. Down here you can see obviously there's old holes in the trunking and stuff like that I have no control over, but you can see it's sort of slotted in like so. I mean, it's hard to get it flush, but yeah, obviously it's all hidden, as before there was like a 6mm gap through the slot, and yeah, it's obviously terrible. So that is that. Right, so I've just marked that plate in there so that I can remove it and I know where the flange lies, and then I'm going to aim to get this armoured boshed into this corner, as tight into this corner without hitting the flange as I can. That'll give me enough room to loop it round and do what I need to do. I guess it's pretty tight in there, but I've put away stuff in far tighter enclosures. So what I've just done, and I'm not going to pretend that I've done this before because I haven't, but I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out, to be fair, is I've actually removed the guts of the switch. It turned out there's 3 screws this side, 2 bolts that side, and then it's sort of slotted out. I just had to remove one of these bars as well. But what that means is I'm going to be able to get, obviously it all glanded in, get the plate screwed on, get the armoured in, but I'm going to be able to dress my earth down there quite easily, take a new earth obviously off to there. I always do that, I always utilise the bolting points on the enclosures. UKPN or the DNOs like it as well, especially if this is like a main isolator. So it's a good habit to get into anyway. I always do that, and then I'll lug from there onto the board itself, and then yeah, I'll be able to prime and sort of dress all my cables, slot the switch back in, and then yeah, drop them onto the pads, onto the bolts. I'm going to mark this up, literally put a slight kink in it. What I'll do is the old tie wrap trick that Tony taught me, because what you can do is you can measure how it's going to fall using the tie wrap. I'm going to snip that flush. So now I've got this sat in here. I'm going to sit this on top of this like so, and I'm literally just going to eye it up, to be honest. Cut that there. So that's cool. Also means this bit's going to get chopped out when I start glanding, or at least be covered by the shroud. So that will help my OCD. But yeah, we know where we are now. I'll remove the old gland and start stripping this armoured. Oh, I'm so hungry. There's like a milk, like an Arla. I mean, they call it a farm, but yeah, it doesn't really look like a farm. But yeah, there's an Arla down the road. And there's a load of people like laying in the road protesting, which is fair enough. But what that means is I've had to walk into work today. On the day I've turned all the power off, I had a big breakfast, but I am starving. And I could walk back to get some in, but like, it's just gonna take up so much time. So yeah, I'm proper just working food today, which I used to be used to. But if you do ever just get like, I mean, hockey sticks are hockey sticks, but these are just slightly curled over. You can just literally flatten them out. Right, so I've just been struggling with the shroud for a while, and yeah, it turns out they've sent me, I don't know if you can see, 25L? It says 25L on it anyway. In a 32 gland pack, it's a 32 gland. Now it's a Sunday, so I ain't gonna be able to go out and get anything, so I am gonna reuse this. Now a little tip is to tape up the steels. I mean, you can do this if you forget to, but tape up the steels and then you can just slide this on with ease. Now it's not ideal that I'm reusing the old one, but I mean, it sort of is what it is basically. Sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. Problem with this old cable is there's actually no inner sheath, so I've just noticed it's yeah, it's literally just bare bearing a cause against the brass glands. So yeah, it's not as good as I thought it was, but generally a lot of older cable's better. Here we are, obviously got the old gland hood, but yeah, new gland, all looking sweet. So now, obviously need a bit of a wipe down on that, but now that's ready to go. What I was on about before, as you can see, there's no, that's not me cutting the insulation off, there just isn't any. It's just that sort of, that braid in there, which is interesting. Yeah, I mean, that's old cable for you, isn't it? But yeah, I'll have to be dead careful when yeah, manipulating those cores. I might even try and find something to shove in there. So, a bit of a change of plan. I just spoke to the other half. This is taking way longer than I thought it would, and I had the whole hoo-ha of having to drive here, then walk in, and blah, blah, blah. So I lost time in the morning. But I'm gonna get as far as I can before 4 o'clock, which is in about 20 minutes. And then, yeah, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna take my kids to the park. I'm gonna have a roast. I'm gonna turn my torch off. And then I'm gonna come back and finish the rest of it in the evening because the power must go on. Right, so the earth comes in, wraps around, jumps on there, then comes out, and that's just loose, but obviously that will get bolted onto here too. And now, sort of formed all of these, and they're ready to go too. I'm going to tighten up that brass bolt. Like I said, I've got it pointing out the top. But yeah, that's the sort of earthing done. Drop the guts of the switch back in, start putting them away. But I am starving, and it's just about to go full, so I'm going to start walking back to have my roast. It'll be, yeah, a couple of hours for me, a couple of seconds for you, but I'll catch you guys later. And we are back. 7 o'clock, starting to get dark. Fed, watered, ready to crack on, get this switch done. Probably gonna get the guts in, get the top put away, catch up with you guys after that. Yeah, rejuvenated and ready to get this finished. Sorry if I was a little bit hangry, a little bit grumpy before. I mean, it's starting to get the better of me. But yeah, ready to get the power back on now, and to be honest, get home. It's Sunday. So we are getting there. I don't know if you can see, I should have shown you before I put the perspex in, but yeah, they are all put away. They are actually all in line and everything as well, but I'm just showing you at like the deadest angle. Now I'm gonna make up the tails for the bottom. I'll probably make up one with you close up. Yeah, you don't need to see that loads of times. I'm gonna leave these super long, same with all the tails, because obviously this board's changing and I don't want to dress them all in nicely. These are all bushed in, but I'm actually going to slot the trunk in again for the board. So yeah, I don't want to go mad because I'm going to have loads of room to play with. I'm going to get rid of that rubbish sort of bush idea and do a proper job of it. So for now, they'll just sort of be looped in. I actually need to torque these up, so I don't know why I put this cover on anyway, but I'll make sure I get the torque wrench out for you lot as well at the end too. Start with the neutral, nice and easy. We need like a meter. Go, plug back there, get that stripped, get that off, check, perfect amount, cool, heat shrink cut, right, let's get that on, let's get that on, there we go, cool, that's one done. I recently sold my M12 sight light because I hadn't used it in over a year, and now I'm really regretting that. Get these bolts whipped out the way. This has really been playing up today, this Cyclops. I don't know what's up with it, but it's been causing me grief. These flexi tails make it so easy, man. Boom. So he covers back on the monstrosity. Sort of. I'm missing Missing 2 screws that I'm going to look for when the lights are on. There's one. And then yeah, these are the tails. Obviously they're going to get dressed in properly once the board gets swapped next week. But yeah, they're looking sweet in the bottom of there, all sort of sweeping out, phase coloured up. So I thought we needed the big boy, but it turns out we don't. We just need this one. It's got 160s in it at the minute, but we're going to put 100s in. So the phases want to be 3.5 Newton meters. Neutral connection wants to be at 100, 3.5 Newton meters. And then the fuse links, or the fuses, want to be 2 Newton meters. The funny thing about this torque wrench, and one of the reasons why I hate it, is it actually just takes hex bits. 0.5, so we're at 3.5 because it was 3.5. Cool. Right, so what I've actually got to do, to be fair, is loosen all these because I've gone overkill on them. There we go. I mean, that is literally nothing, but fair enough. Oh, that is literally nothing. Unbelievable. I mean, they are tight, but like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. There we go. Yeah, they're pretty tight, to be fair. So what I need to do as well is in the switch fuse in the mains room, ideally I want to put like some AM fuses or slow blow fuses in, because basically we got GGs, 100 amp GGs in this switch, 100 amp GGs in that switch, so obviously there's no discrimination there. So if there is a fault, it could blow at either end, or you could lose 2 phases here, 1 phase there, I don't know, yeah, it could get weird. So ideally you want slow blows that end, so that these ones go first and then it's all localized. So I'm gonna make sure I do that too, but at the minute, it's obviously just trying to get the power on. Where did I put them fuses? So it's really not a big deal, but what I like to do with these is I like to have the middle one facing the other way. And that way, anyone who's in here can easily see all of the fuse information, because then, like, obviously it says 100 amp on it, but you might want to know again if it's a slow blow or whatever. Delicate little thing, this. Not tight at all. Well, obviously it's tight. It's been you know, specified to be that tight, but like, yeah, 2.5 Newton meters is not a lot. There we go. Right, flash guards. That's what I mean about having the information visible. So when you take the cover off, it doesn't just say 100 amp. You got all that stuff too, which is a bit handy. But yeah, in, out, covers on. So yeah, I'm going to get the main cover on, and then yeah, we can finally get the power on. So now I'm really testing out, got a bit of tape on my shoe, really testing out the low light capabilities of this lens. It's like pitch black out here. It's just about 9 o'clock, just about to go 9 o'clock, all in a day's work, eh? Sweet. Back on. How jokes is that? I just magneted that onto that trunk and took it with me. Right. Now we can do the big turn on, the big clunky handle. I'm going to film it from about 6 different angles, really milk it. Make this isolator install worth it. It is worth it. It's fun making these videos, and I'm excited to be back on site in the coming weeks as well. Really excited, back to what I used to do and the videos I used to love making, because I really do enjoy it. And that's the thing, that's why I don't stick to a schedule, because I'm not doing it for an algorithm, I'm not doing it for any clout or anything like that. I'm doing it for me. Right, let's do it. It's a good start. Cool. Lights on. There we go. Leave the heater off for now. There we go. Let's turn that down a bit. We're sweet, but what is... All the others are on. It's a bit weird. Do the old on and off trick. Sometimes that works. No. Must have not liked the on and off. I have to speak to Skull more about that. Right, I need to get tidied up. It's also, oh, I don't even want to look. It's 20 to 10. So yeah, I need to get all this tidied up, and I need to get home to my better half. But yeah, that is all for today, guys. Glasgow switch is fitted. Next week we'll be fitting that 6 Schneider board. Really excited to do that. I'm also really excited to finally get that mains done. That trunking looks horrendous, but it'll be like that for a week. I'd never let that slide in the real world, even temporarily. I wouldn't let it slide. Yeah, it's gonna get all sorted out, and it's gonna be pretty sick when it's done. New trunking lid, everything like that. That Schneider board with the Acti 9, all that stuff. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put it up here. But yeah, that's gonna be really, really good. As always, thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate everyone who tunes in, all the comments and everything like that. And again, sorry for the lack of content. Like I said earlier, I don't just put stuff out for the sake of putting it out, but I have got lots coming up, lots I'm very excited for. But yeah, it's just a juggling act. I've got load out, you know, a growing business. It takes up so much time, 2 kids, a very, very patient fiance, and yeah, obviously an electrical YouTube channel, which, you know, I love to do, Instagram pages, all that stuff. So I really am invested in all of this. It is just a bit of a juggling act at sometimes, but yeah, it's all good. Got plenty coming up. I'll catch you on those videos. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll see you on the next one.